release.
Yeah!
About damn time. Took a long while.
But it feels good. It's very good.
Nice, that is good. How are you guys feeling about the album finally being out? You waited a long time as well.
Long time!
Yes, well, it is fantastic to have you here. We're going to get started with some questions.
All right.
Yes, and the very first question, I have to flip my thing. The very first question, flip my thing, as I do. Sorry, that's how we roll. The very first question is a question that was entered online, perhaps by one of you, I don't know. And the question is, basically, I thought it was a good place to start. What inspired the new chapter of Epica? And I can imagine that you guys have several different inspirations, so I don't know who wants to start. Do you want to start? You look ready.
I'm one already. Yeah, we were discussing where to go, and even though we never set out completely the road how it has to be, we have like an idea. We wanted to experiment a bit, and we experimented already a bit with the Alchemy project, the EP that we recorded, and that went really well. We did work with some other musicians, and that was really inspiring. And all the things we learned from the Alchemy project that we liked, we did also with the actual album. So, for example, a song like The Final Lullaby, we would have never put it in the past on an album. And now we thought we can do it. So a song like Cross the Divide would not be in the past on an album, but now we thought this is time we're going to do it. So a lot of new experiments, but also the good old Epica and finding a nice balance for that. And everybody has their own inspiration indeed. So we all write our songs with our own backgrounds. And that's a good thing. We have 5 songwriters in the band. We can basically, we have unlimited amount of ideas. We just have to select the best ones.
There are a lot of questions about main inspirations. Do you want to say something about that, Snow?
Pizza. Pasta. I had nice pasta.
You're becoming more Italian than me.
Yes. See. Inspiration, I guess, my own life, the life that I lead with the band. It's no secret that I love movies. So on this album there's actually one song, Cross the Divide, that was inspired by the movie Interstellar. Have you guys seen it?
Yeah!
It's a great movie, right?
Yeah!
So, great source of inspiration. I have all the streaming platforms, so in my free time I watch a lot of movies. And there's actually one song on the album, I wrote a lyric about the castle of my hometown, Hoensbroek, about the blue lady, so you guys can Google it. Yeah, maybe you want to say something as well, Rob? You wrote a couple songs too, huh?
Yeah, I'm also pretty much a movie nerd like you. Yeah, you probably can also hear, especially like in the title song, Spiral, for instance. I heard it from many people, like, it sounds, well, pretty much inspired by Hans Zimmer, for instance, which is pretty correct, I must say. Just like you, I also like movies like Interstellar, like Nolan stuff, Inception, all those kind of movies, they are so inspiring. When I watch movies like that, I always feel like picking up the laptop and start working on stuff. But one movie that really inspired me this time, especially during COVID, was actually a documentary called Struggle. Yeah. And it's about a Polish artist called, not Tchaikovsky, what I read in some reviews. No, it's Swarovski, exactly. No, it's about Stanislaw Szukalski. He's a Polish artist who actually got kind of forgotten in the past. And in the early 1900s he kind of got considered as the new Michelangelo of this era, but unfortunately his whole life's work got bombed during the German bombing in '39 in Warsaw. It's a very sad story, but at the same time also very inspiring, and I was so blown away by his artwork and also how it got depicted in that documentary. And I thought like the way how they zoom in on that artwork of his, it's almost like riding on a roller coaster. I mean, guys, if you haven't seen it, please watch it. It's very inspiring. And from there on, I thought like maybe I can do also like a soundtrack for one of those statues. Like, let's just start with one. And I literally looked at my book called Struggle. I said like, okay, let's start with A. And which one was A? A spiral. that was the first one I saw, and then I actually based that song totally on its sculpture. The way it builds up, literally from minimalistic nothing to literally a spiral of the chord progression that goes on and builds up and builds up and builds up, and eventually the lady comes out, and that's where it's kind of based on. So that's a completely different way of writing. It's literally a soundtrack. It's not really considered as a song, but it's a soundtrack. And that's why we also chose like, okay, since it's not such a typical song, let's use this as like the final track. Actually, that was your idea, by the way. And, at first, I didn't even thought, I wasn't even considering even using that for the album, to be honest. Like this is not an Epica song, but
Yeah, when you first sent me the song, you were really in doubt about it.
yeah.
But I was right away. Wow, this has some kind of magic.
But I even had it with Cross the Divide as well. First, I thought also like maybe this is a little bit too disco, because if actually, by the way, people will think that it was based on Nightwish. Sorry, I don't have a Nightwish record. It was really literally based on synthwave. Like I like to experiment with synthesizers and stuff like that. I'm really nerd if it comes to that kind of stuff. And that's where it's based on. Is based on 80s pop music basically. So, which kind of makes sense, right?
Born in the 80s.
There you go.
Another question that came in like almost 3 or 4 times was if there was a conscious decision behind taking such a different format for the album as a whole, like the lack of intros, the artwork that was very different than before. This question came back a lot, so perhaps you want to speak on that. Yeah, in a good way. Yeah, people were excited. Yes.
Yeah, so
Most of them.
we were excited too, like to change things up again. It's like every 10 years we kind of go through that phase, and I think also for this album we strongly felt like let's change things, let's try different angles and songwriting wise, but also artwork wise, and yeah, we all longed for that, and that's why we chose to do it differently. Also no intro, we didn't really, at some point we didn't really have an intro, so either we could write one or just decide let's do it the other way around.
It would have been too much anyway. Another intro is like, yeah, why even bother? Let's just kick ass right from the start.
That was your idea.
Yeah, he literally said that during the songwriting camp, like, fuck it, let's just do it.
Let's just start, bomb, message clear, let's go.
Yeah, and
So there's your answer.
yeah, and then especially if you have a spiral as the ending song, it kind of flips the whole thing backwards, and so that to us was a good idea.
And on the artwork, is any because is that also inspired by Swarovski, Tchaikovsky, Zukalski?
Yeah, it is. It's the cool thing is we also wanted to try something different. Like we've been working with Stefan Heidemann for a long time, and he makes great stuff. But it felt good to try something else because we wanted to definitely refresh certain things. And as kind of like an experiment, Simone already did it with her album with Arjen Lucassen with Vermilion, and he's an amazing artist. He's like very. I don't know, he's very provocative in his work. On one hand, it looks very minimalistic, but at the same time, there's always something kinky going on in stuff which I really like. And, well, there you go, he's also a huge Zukalski fan, heavily inspired by Zukalski. So we were like, yeah, we should have a good chat with him. And it was a very interesting, in a good way, process to work with him, because he has such an incredible imagination. There are so many different versions of that cover you don't want to know. And that's also why we also eventually also went for the Oracle deck as well, because that's an extension of the artwork, and that was such a cool project to work with him. And he at the moment like that, he really felt not like just like an external artist who did the artwork for the album. He really felt like a 7 band member in such a way.
Yeah, and he told us that maybe it's time for Epica to let the art speak for itself and not have our big logo on the CD. And yeah, we had to get used to the idea, but since we wanted to renew ourselves, become, go with the times, change things up a little bit, it felt right. It felt a little scary, but it felt right, so.
It's super recognizable as well.
Yeah,
as an artwork. One question that I also got many times, and then I will certainly move on to the questions that you put in personally today.
The spicy ones.
The spicy ones. One of it was, you've talked a little bit about inspiration and decisions, and one of them was if this was something that you decided before you started working, or if it's something that was more along the way. Maybe you can speak a little bit on that.
Yeah, but I think it goes naturally. Of course, we before we started writing, or before we actually bounced ideas off of each other, we kind of sat together and thought about what we were going to do. So mix things up a little bit and go for a maybe different direction. But I think in the end, when you write stuff and you give it to somebody else to handle the drums or the guitars, it becomes something else totally. So it evolves naturally in a way as well. So it's both actually.
Finally, we got one more, which was asked to all of you, and that is, which was the challenging part for you to work on this record? So we'll just go left to right.
Challenging, I think. What I tried to do with this album is not to think about what I was going to play for drum fills or double bass most as I could. I just let the songs guide what I had to do. And maybe that was sometimes a bit challenging, but it worked out really well. I'm happy with the result, and that I'm finally now old enough to put the music first instead of what I want to do. So I guess that's been one of my challenges. It worked out really nice. So, sorry guys for all those years of pain and suffering.
Wonderful. How about for you?
I think to let go, because I was thinking to work with Stefan Heilemann again, so to let go of that idea and accept to let that go and try somebody new. So I had to get over that first, but when the first conversations happened with Hedy, Xant, then I knew this guy is on the same page as us. But if the conversations didn't went into the right direction, it would have remained a struggle for me.
For me, I don't know. I basically came straight out of the Vermilion process, recording, working on that, and straight into the Epica writing camps. But I was very inspired and felt like I kind of unlocked a different level of singing in me, and that gave me a lot of freedom to work on vocal lines with amazing songs that the guys wrote. And then when the actual vocal recording started in June, I think I had a couple of sleepless nights, and that means I can't record vocals, so that's a little bit a struggle I have sometimes. But luckily Joost is really great, and he let me chill in a hotel, watch more movies for new Epica records. And then I could continue recording vocals, and I enjoyed it very much. I literally sang my heart out. I think you can hear it on the album, and I'm very happy with the end result.
One of the challenges is actually something that we all also consider as the opportunity, is actually to not record everything separate as we used to do. Like in some other albums, everything was recorded like normally we come together, we do like what they call pre-production. Basically is you record a rehearsal together, eventually Arjen will start with his parts, everybody will do his separate parts, but it becomes very clinical. Like you sit in front of a screen, work with an engineer, and he says like, okay, let's play these 4 notes. Oh, you sound great, let's do the next one. Okay, nah, you can do it better. Let's do the next one, let's do the next. Almost an office job. It's quite boring, to be honest. And this time, yeah, I'm just going to be very honest about it. It's like, I fucking hate that. It's, we all like to rock, and what we like the most is actually be on stage, and that, to catch that energy. And this time we were like, also I remember being in the tour bus, sometimes when we had like maybe 1 or 2 of your beautiful French wines, and we were listening to these cool 90s and 80s records, like, why do these records rock so much? Why? Because they recorded this as a band, in one piece, one take, bam, that's it.
Yeah, and you can even hear some mistakes here and there.
Yeah, exactly, but at the same time it doesn't bother us at all, because it rocks. And that's something we already
They're Easter eggs for you.
Yeah, there you go, there you go. No, but we already kind of tried it out on the Alchemy project, and that for some few songs that already worked really well, and we did it on this album like with each and every track, and that it felt, this time recording felt like fun. It really felt like making music, and not like the typical clinical, almost like working in a lab kind of job.
Mierenneukerij and fucking.
Yeah, that's what we call in Dutch and fucking. It's like being very nitpicky and stuff like that. So,
We are a very elegant language.
yeah. Heel goed. No, but that was actually that was really cool. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for mij, dat ik iets te zeggen. They're always waiting for me to say something wordy, and he said 17 minutes.
Is that a new record or?
No.
Usually it's
No,
always-
I'm warming up.
This is a new event.
Give me the spicy
It's a
questions.
new event.
It's weekend, right? Who cares?
This is what Epica really is like. This is the Epica experience.
I'm glad you guys
You are
really
really
like.
Normally we can cut this stuff out.
This is Epica uncut.
So Koen, Isaac, do you want to talk on your challenges, or have they already been answered in the?
Well, yeah, a lot of them are similar, of course. For me, I think the challenge was to stay focused the whole time. Like we really wanted to see that every part has its own vibe, or that there's not too much going on all the time. And from the start, we worked on the vocal lines, which was not always the case. So Simone came in from really early on, which made a huge difference for the songs. And yeah, so you need to be focused to make sure that you don't add too much to all of that, and that you let everyone shine, and you know, not layer too much. Although we always like more is more, but yeah, not too much.
So this is a minimalistic record for
Well,
you.
well, you know, there's still a lot of stuff happening, but you know, just trying to make sure that it's no overload, and yeah, so that was a challenge, I guess, which we succeeded.
If you guys like it, then we did.
Yeah.
You know, then we didn't.
And for me, well, maybe for all of us, but I think the challenge was next to recording the album, but also like working on the arrangements and preparing scores for the orchestra and choir and stuff. We also were preparing the symphonic synergy shows, so it was all in like a few months that everything had to be done. So I think time management and scheduling was a bit a bit of a tricky part of the whole process, but it worked out, both of them.
That's very good. I think it is time to move on to the questions that you just filled in. Are you guys ready for that?
Absolutely, yes.
So if you have asked a question, it would be a good idea to move towards the front, because I might just call your name to ask it yourself. You can ask it into the microphone if you don't mind sharing my germs. Very post-COVID. Oh, there's actually, are you running with the mic? Fantastic. So I can just...
It's the question mic. This is the question mic.
This is the question mic. Well, that just makes